Assistant Fire Chief Bob Nicks, who is also the president of the Firefighters Union. Now,
Austin Firefighter Association. That's correct.
Thank you. So we just passed a $3.5 billion budget, and yet we have no raises for firefighters in the 2015 budget.
That's correct. You know, the city manager seems to think that a pat on the back is good enough for firefighters, and quite frankly, we've had enough of that. And, you know, we got denied a 1.5 pay raise last year when every other city employee got that or more. They blamed us because we put something in the contract that stopped them from hiring correctly. And the truth came out from their own expert. The truth came out that it was their mistakes and their decisions that caused the problems with the DOJ. And yet there was a strong emphasis not to pay us that 1.5 that we deserved. Also, and maybe more egregious, and this is why the members will probably vote down the contract that's in front of them, that'll be in front of them next week, is they removed training standards that's been in there over 10 years from the contract. I used to be a former chief of training. I can tell you those standards kept political influence out of that academy. Now those training standards are adamant they would not take a contract unless they remove those training standards. So they will not talk about hiring, which they said they would in public session in their filings. They removed training standards. We almost didn't even take this contract forward. But the reason we did was my administration is built on the will of the membership. The members will ultimately decide. We will take it forward, and we expect this thing will go down like a lead balloon.
Okay, so that means that you still will be without a raise.
We'll be without a raise. The firefighters, again, will vote down a raise on a principled stance that hiring the right people and having the right training standards are important, not just the firefighter safety, but the safety and service of the community.
How close are you to getting a contract agreement?
We are taking their last best offer forward. We're not happy with it. In fact, we wrestle with even taking it forward at all. But ultimately, it's in the will of the membership to decide.
And how about this lawsuit regarding the Department of Justice?
Lawsuit about what?
The Department of Justice?
The Department of Justice lawsuit, we're still waiting for legal standing, ruling on the judge. There's also a fairness hearing coming up that if we don't hear by then, we will make a presentation at the fairness hearing. But the firefighters feel strongly that we have an interest in this case, a strong interest in making sure that a federal law is actually broken before the city manager and fire chief brings in government oversight to tell Austin how we're going to run our hiring process.
So as it stands right now, will you have the Department of Justice overseeing the hiring process?
Right now, there is no hiring process and no plan for a hiring process and nobody overseeing anything. Until the federal judge rules that they can use this consent decree, there's no hiring process.
So you have no ability to hire more staff?
If they abide by the DOJ recommendation of not hiring under a contract of 143, which they seem to be doing, there is no ability right now to hire anybody.
Wow, how long could that go on?
If we get legal standing, it could go on for an extended period of time. What we're hoping that will happen, though, is we will get legal standing, because we rightfully should. We will force the federal government and the city manager and fire chief to prove that they discriminated, which is what they need to prove. And we do not think they did. We think they used a valid exam. And then they will come back to us, and we will allow that hiring process, the best in history. Over 51% minority involved in the class, the best by far we've ever had, to be used. Right now, the city manager, the fire chief, and the DOJ are blocking the use of the best process as far as increasing our diversity in our department that this department's ever seen.
How much is this fight costing the city?
I don't know. The city is not a very efficient expender of resources, so I'm sure it's much, much higher than the association, but the association will end up spending $500,000 on this lawsuit before it's all said and done. And the members are ready to vote down a contract on a principled stand that training is important, hiring is important, and also on the principled stand that we should not have federal government overreach coming in and telling them how to hire our firefighters. The firefighters are the experts. We should be doing that. And we will spend $500,000 to make sure our standards are upheld.
All right.